I forgot back. We need the nurse. Someone was in the waiting room. Let me get them in. Okay, Nun Ches Samad Aleph. Good morning. Yeah, it doesn't translate to Rashi. There's one now. They have something on Tosfos. Morning. Morning, everybody. We welcome everybody. There is a came out with a translation of Tosfot, but I don't know if the translation of Rashi on the Gemara. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. We are on Nun Chet Amud Aleph 58. We are 5 on the top, around 5 lines on the top. Rav Hamnuna. Okay, everyone got it? 58. Okay. Today we're going to talk about different types of blessings that are said over different types of people or different situations in life. Tana Rabbana. Let's not forget, we're on Nun Ches Amud Aleph 58a. In art school, most probably it's 58a 1. Okay. It's one, the first word of life, Hamnuna. 6 lines from the top. You got it, Ariel? Yeah. If somebody sees Yisrael, if you see a tremendous population of Jewish people, identify it, 600,000 people, 600,000 Jews. Now, where would you ever see 600,000 Jews come up? You'll be at the Beit HaMikdash on Pesach, on Sukkot, on Shavuot, morning where all the men have to come to bring korbanot. You can have easily 600,000, over 600,000 men or 600,000 people at the Beit HaMikdash. So if you would be in such a situation where you see a tremendous population of Jewish people, what do you do? Special bracha that you say on such an amazing an event of seeing so many people. And what is the bracha? It's a very interesting that said. You know, we know there's a rule called Rov Am Hadrat Melech. That's a rule, let's say by Megillat Esther, right? If you have 2 places to hear the Megillah, if you have a place that's a larger synagogue with more people attending one of smaller synagogues, generally the law would say the bigger synagogue would be more ideal because more people coming together to do a mitzvah is greater than a smaller amount. It's a bigger kiddush Hashem when so many people come to do a mitzvah, right? Our class, right? The more people that come, it's more honorable for the kavod, the honor of the Torah, that people come to learn Torah. More people at a minyan, it's more honor. That's provided that in both places you will be able to hear the Bal Koreh shul, and you're not able to hear the Bal Koreh because it's so many people and there's noise and people are. Then that's not what we're talking about. When you're able to get the mitzvah right in both places, and you won't right. If you won't feel comfortable, you don't feel the mitzvah will be done. So then I would say don't go for that situation. You know, if the experience, my humble opinion would be, if you're experiencing more like there's a phenomenon called the shtibel. You know what the shtibel is? In Ashkelon, shtibel is the small shul, the mom and pop shul synagogue. You have like in Israel, you have 5, 6 on the same block. All the small, like the shtibel row, shuls have 15, 20, 25, 30 people in the shul. But sometimes the person might shul if he feels that he will grow more. He'll have, he feels that's better for his growth. Say in that situation, let's say in that shul there's more Talmidei Chachamim, the more or the more learned people, the level of the synagogue, or whatever. And then I would say go to the smaller synagogue if you feel that you're spiritually uplifted more. That's what I would say. They go to the big shul, and you feel like you know nobody knows if the feeling is that you're not really, if you notice, and therefore you feel that you're not going to really want to come back. You're not going to feel the proper kosher. I don't know, the coming back, wanting to come back, feeling that people that go to shuls that they just they check in and then they check out, and then they're part of they go to the big shul. When are you there? People don't notice, and that's really the responsibility in a big shul, is that people from the shul are supposed to need to notice the people. If they're not coming, they come down to them. So, just on an ideal situation, if it remains equal, the big shul would be the better things. You have a place to do a mitzvah in a bigger place. But now we're talking about something now we're not talking about the point of a mitzvah being done in a bigger met with more people. Rather, we're talking about the phenomenon of a lot of people coming together. You see a lot of Jewish people, whatever the case is, the Gemara does not identify why they come together. But there are Jewish people came together. 6,000 people came together. I think in history, in recent history, it could be the last time 600,000 Jews came together might have been at Rabbi Yosef's funeral. There was maybe a million, close to in Israel. So that, I think, what was it, about 10 ago, something like that, I'm guessing. I don't know how many years ago. So that was now, but you have to be able to see. Now I don't think, I don't know that you're able to see, what I'm saying. The question says, it says if you see that number. The question is, if you see sometimes see an aerial view of a picture of a big rally. I mean, like sometimes you could, you see, if there's like like we had a President Obama, we had a 1 million men march, right? I think they called it something. They had 1 million people that came out for some event. But I need to see it. I don't know that, seeing it. And if you see a lot of people, but they're all in lines like this, but they're not out. If they're not, I would see also, because the thing would seem to apply context of funeral also. I'll show you why. Listen, what's the even a tragic way? But I'm saying, but the point is, even it's reason they're coming together, there is this blessing. And what is this blessing? To the blessing that, but again, the bracha, yes. And what is the bracha? It's Baruch B'cham Harosim. The blessing that you would say is Baruch Atah Hashem Melech Olam Chacham Harosim. He knows, and Rashi says, what is Chacham Harosim? That he knows what's in the heart of each and every person. You have people, so many different people, over 600,000 people going on, and the thoughts of everybody's heart right here, God. Therefore, they institute a blessing to, in a certain sense, when you see so many people, to recognize Hashem greatness. When you see this crowd, you see how God knows what's in the heart of these people. In Reish Chav, 800,000. Okay. So here, what you find in the funeral. He had a funeral in America for like 75,000 people, and in America, there's like around 75,000. I think they asked. That's all. And in Israel was like what? In the yeshiva downtown, outside in the street. You got to see the pictures. You look up one day the pictures of the funeral, area view, and that was 1986. To find him was 1986, and then he. That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, very big one, yes. Now, the Shulchan Aruch, Mr. Reb Daniel, Shulchan Aruch says, if you see 600,000 people together, biyachad, together, you say, Baruch atah Hashem l'kei chacham. What's the meaning? So the meaning is that the people, every person thinks differently, every person looks differently, and Hashem knows the what's in the heart of each and every person. So when you say a bracha, what is the point of a bracha? It's a point to recognize who you're saying the bracha to, who you recognize. It's a recognition that you created this food. You say Baruch Priyadama. You say you recognize the food. You say Baruch Atah Hashem. You blessed are you, God, Elokeinu Melech Haolam, our God, the King of the world. Baruch Priyadama. You created the fruit of the ground. So that's what you're doing by saying all the different brachot. What are you saying the brachot? Thanking God, you're recognizing God's greatness. That's what you're doing by saying food. So when you say a bracha before you learn Torah, you're recognizing, bless you God, that you gave right? You're recognizing Hashem gave you mitzvot, which makes you. You say the bracha, so the bracha is an opportunity to recognize God's greatness, and like the Rambam writes, when brachot brings the yirat Hashem. A person who's careful in saying his brachot to be a God-fearing person because it helps him in his fear of Hashem, because you connect with Hashem. So the Chachamim, the rabbis, the Anshe Knesset Gdolah, recognize that here's an opportunity that we should recognize and use to talk about this. When you see so many different people, and there's over 600,000 people, and 600,000 is a big number, as we see. We came out of Egypt, we had 600,000, Egypt 20. I think there's somewhere I saw the 600 shut in for every pasuk. I think there's such a concept. 1,000 different understanding, and something like the depth of different levels. I think what I recall somewhere. It's a 600 number, and 600,000 people, and now you could use this opportunity and say, this whole crowd, everybody looks different, right? We all don't look alike. And I once saw a beautiful. Why don't we look alike? Why don't I look exactly like even identical, identical, 100%, 1,000%? The mothers should be able to tell the difference. Now, why did God make everyone look differently? By the fact that you look differently, and that you think differently, that you're different. And therefore, I need to be understanding in a positive way. When if you act a certain way, I have to don't act that way. I do things that different people do business different ways. To have the way they act. Not everybody does the same, acts exactly. Not everyone does the way I want they should do. You know what? They're different than me. I have in my mind how I think it's. I want to run a business deal, and I want the business deal. I want to rent an apartment, buy a house. I want to do it one way, but my broker doesn't want to do it a different way. If everybody would look alike, I would have the similar expectations of everybody. If differently indicates that reminds me that we're different. So if you come up with another idea, I have more understanding. Not to say if your idea is anti-appropriate things. Not if your idea is anti-Torah. But I'm saying not in life as the people think. A person gets married, and the wife thinking. So you're not your wife. Your wife's not. I mean, of course you're like one. But I'm saying, but she thinks differently, and you have to be more understanding. The fact that she wants it to be done this way. You understand she's different, and I think it's Nathan's beautiful idea to give people the patience in dealing with people. You could. What do you say about it? Is that beautiful or not? Yeah. It's good for Shalom Bayit because I'm not you. You're not me. I think differently. We unite as one. But at the end of the day, I have to constantly remember that. Yes. Right. But here, this is it. Right. This is independent of right. It's independent. Very good. It's why they came together. Whatever reason they came together. But you need to recognize there's something unique about this situation of thinking about God's ability. Not always do we, when there's thunder, there's a blessing. That his power fills the world. It's lightning, you say, there are different blessings that we say on different phenomena. We look at this, so many people coming together as a phenomenon to look at, to recognize God's greatness. You see, some of the commentaries point out something unique about the 600,000. So, see, some want to say that there are 1,000 types of the way things are broken down. Let me see the language they say over here. 600,000. Hold on a second. Very good, beautiful. So the Ra'ah will show them say the following idea. Listen to this. That why 600,000 people? Why do you need that bar to have 600,000 people, that minimum is bracha? So he says that ideas of the mind, the different thoughts of people, different type of sets, different type of knowledge, these are broken into 600,000. There's only 600,000 type of way of thinking, of seeing things in a certain way. Meaning, it's like they're looking at it that it's a 200,000 that Hashem gave the human abilities, 600,000 combinations, like in Lotto. How many numbers are in Lotto? I mean, what are the right? I don't know how many calculations are. Millions to get these 5 lots. So that the way people think is the 600 different thousand ways that people could have different mindsets. And it's also 600,000 ways to understand the Torah. And also what I recall such an idea also. So he says, and 600,000, right. So that's the number. And therefore, that's why if you see 600,000, you've seen the number of people, which represents now the different types of mindsets that are in the world. And now, the bracha to say that the 600,000 mindsets, good morning, and God knows mindsets. And all those mindsets, all the different mindsets and ideas that people have. So now you're using this opportunity. That God knows the secrets. What is Raz? Razei Torah is the secrets. That God knows what's in the mind of all 600,000 and the mind of all 600,000 people. So that's the idea. Okay? 24/7, just to get a little picture. You're just recognizing God's ability and God's. To say this bracha, you need a minimum of 600,000. That's a lot of people. Yes, morning, Mr. Haber. So the Gemara says now, uchlusei of the kachavim, with 7 lines from the top on Nun Ches someone else. If a person sees 600,000 non-Jews coming together, which is more common. Maybe they'll come together for a concert to get 600,000 people coming together. I mean, like I said, the Obama march, 1 million man march or whatever. There is here it doesn't use the language of a bracha. He says, say a pasuk. I mean, that seems from the language of the Gemara, but the Gemara says, quotes a pasuk from Yirmiyah. What does the pasuk from Yirmiyah say? Busha imchem ma'od, chafra yoladaschem. That there's going to be, that the nations of the world that, like Bavel, that started up with the Jewish people, the nations of the world that worship Avodah Zarah, what's going to happen is, at the end, they're going to be desolate. They're going to be destroyed. So when you see so many not people, if you see these people, and if they, I would presume, if you're referring to people that worship idols, people that are not, Hashem is not looking to destroy nations, non-Jewish nations that keep the 7 mitzvahs, but they know they keep the mitzvahs and they don't serve idols. God is not looking to destroy them. But if they are not keeping the Torah, not keeping their responsibilities, they have their mitzvot, not to worship idols, is one of the big 7. So then you say the pasuk about this crowd that you need to know. You see 600,000 people that are worshiping idols. You should know that one day they're going to get it. And there's a pasuk from Yirmiyah, and that's what you say at that when you witness such a crowd of people. You should know that the pasuk will come to fruition. That will be that's what you say in such a thing. Tana Rabbanan. Now the Gemara elaborates a little bit on what we just said before. Brings it right. If you see a large population of the Jewish people, morning, what do you say? Omer, you say, Baruch Chacham Harazim. Blessed be the Chacham Harazim, the one who is meaning you say the bracha of recognizing Hashem, morning, that Hashem is the one who knows everything that's in the hearts of these people. And now the Gemara says, She'ein daitam domer lezer lezer, that even though their thinking is different, the people think differently, they look differently. It's not like everybody's the same. It's no big deal. Everybody's the same to figure everybody out, to know what everybody's thinking. There are some people that think I know whatever I can figure everybody out. When everyone looks different, it thinks differently, and that's what you're recognizing Hashem. That's a bracha you say when you 600,000 people recognizing God's amazing ability, what He had, just to give a little picture of what God knows, and He knows everything. But just to recognize, but it's for us to recognize it, for us to bring it out and talk about it and mention it. So is that clear, Mr. Haber? That's a special bracha upon seeing 600,000 Jewish people. Ben Zoma Omer. Ben Zoma Ra'ah Uchusa Agab Mala Bahar Bayit. Ben Zoma, in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, he saw, when they came to the Beit HaMikdash, he saw 600,000 Jewish people together. V'amar, and he says, Baruch Chacham Harazim. He said this bracha. In practice, he said this bracha, but now the Gemara says not only did he say the bracha, he also added another thing. What did he also say? He said, Baruch, he said, Baruch, he said a bracha, Baruch shebara kol elu l'sham sheni. He blessed Hashem that all these people, you see these 600,000 people? I recognize that God brought these people on the world to help me. That the world that God created, the people that God created are here to help me. I recognize and I appreciate that. And now he explains, what does that mean? Hu haya omer. He used to say, and there is Hu haya omer seems to say this is something he said on a regular basis to teach the people this lesson. Kama yigiot yoga adam harishon. The first man, right? He worked very hard until he got bread to eat. There was nobody who planted before him. There was nobody else. There was no bakery for him. He had to do everything. He planted, he plowed, he planted, he harvested. He had to go ahead and thresh it and grind it and bake it and a whole process. He did the whole thing. So he says, and he goes through it. Chorash, Vizora, he went ahead. We're in the wide lines, by the way, now. Second wide line. He plowed, he planted, the kotza, and he harvested, the emer, and then he gathered the food together after he cut the food, the dosh, and then he had to thresh the ears, get rid of the outside, and the zora, and also he goes ahead and he winnowed, he threw it to the wind to separate the chaff from the seed, and ubara, and he removed some of the parts that are no good, v'tachan, and he ground it, the hirkin, and then he sifted again, v'losh, and he had to go ahead and now take the dough and mix it with water and knead the dough, and then v'afa, then he had to bake it, and after he did all those things, then he went ahead and he ate from the bread. But I get up in the morning, I got the bread is ready, the bakery is ready. Someone else planted, someone else plowed the field. I didn't plow the field, I didn't plant the field, I didn't cut the food, and I'm ready, and I got ready-made food. I get up and I find all these things already done. And he's recognizing that this is the chesed of Hashem, that Hashem put all these different people in this world. And all these people in this world it's like Olam Chesed Yibaneh, that gives me the ability, that gives me the time to be focused my energies on other things. I could learn Torah, I could do mitzvot, instead of me be busy the whole day, busy in the farm, planting and plowing and harvesting and doing all that. So there are other people that are doing that job.
Maybe also that's why the Motzi Lechem Min Haaretz is the highest level of bracha for the food, that conclude everything.
Because of all those different jobs that are entailed. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's like to get to the bread itself, it's like it's the hardest job. It's not just like you plant a fruit of tree and you got just collect it and you can eat it. It's not enough, for the bread. The bread, you have to plant it and you have to harvest it and you have to ground it and you have to bake it. It's all that.
But I think the reason why bread is the highest level of bracha, because bread is the sustenance, basic sustenance of life. Bread is a staple of a person's diet, so to speak, to give them the nutrition and so on and so forth. I presume that's why it's considered like the highest level. That's the only thing we do Birkat HaMazon on it. Okay. So I think he wanted to make a point to be a very appreciative person and to recognize how God has set everything up for us, has created a world to make it easy for us and to appreciate that. And therefore he wants to recognize that. And he's going to continue. He's going to say, Kama yigiot yaga adam rishon. Achem matzeh beged ulbosh. Adam harishon. When he wanted some clothing, how hard did he have to work to get some clothing, some pants and some shirt? He had a gazaz. He had to go ahead and shear the wool from the animal. Really bane. You had to go ahead and clean the wool after you shear the wool. V'nipates, and you have to go ahead and you have to bang it out.
When I'm talking to you, it's me.
V'tova, he had to go ahead and spin the threads.
Right.
V'orag, after you spin the threads, you have to weave it. Then only afterwards after he did all those processes, then he found he had something to wear. I get up and it comes from China, comes to my door. Amazon delivered it to my door, and I got a suit. What did I do for a suit? Did I weave the threads? Did I go shear the animal to cut the wool of the animal? No. I find all these ready in front of me. And number three, he says, all the different nations of the world, meaning he was very wealthy, and they're all coming, they want to do business. People want to do business with a wealthy man. He's able to invest, he's able to be part of part of their business, help their business. They were looking to wheel and deal with a man who has the ability with capital, right? So they're all coming to me. I find, I get up, they're all waiting for me, ready to do, I find them and they're ready to do business with me. I have the ability to do business. Some say, some have a different text on this last point in the Gemara, not kol umod, but rather kol bali umnoyo, all craftsmen. They come to me, meaning, let's say, I need to make a bookshelf, right? Bookcase. I don't make the bookcase myself. You don't make the bookcase. I have kol umnoyos, all the different craftsmen come to me, and they're ready. They're waiting for me, and I don't have to do the work. I need a menorah. So there's a tinsmith or whatever you call it. He's coming to me. He's coming to me because he wants my business. I'll just give him some money, and I don't have to do all the work. So that's what he said. So I think this is a great recognition of see, they put down, the Rambam says, good morning. So the Rambam says, Hashem made a creation of this world, and a lot of times you'll only have certain people that are going to be, that are, let's say, for the leaders of the generation. For the leader of the generation, in order for him to be a leader of the generation, to be the biggest chacham, to be the wisest person, to be able to answer all the questions that the Jewish people have, to be learning in Torah, if he needs to have someone that make it easier for them. And having the fact that the world is run in this fashion gives him the ability to spend his time in learning Torah and amassing tremendous. If Ravadi Yosef would have been in the fields, planting and plowing and planting and doing all those things, how could he have been the Ravadi Yosef? So therefore, the Rambam says that that's why Hashem set up the world in such a way, in order that these type of people will be able to have the time to learn, and that's an idea. But obviously, it's not only for those individuals that are Ravad Yosef, it's to every person, because every person is given that opportunity, and every one person at their own level to have time in life, to be able to have time to do mitzvahs and do Torah. Therefore, Hashem created the world in such a way. And we need to recognize it. Hu haya omer. And then he also said, Ben Zoma, it seems that Ben Zoma was very focused on telling the people how their mindset, how their attitude, how they should look at things. And like they say, count your blessings and be appreciative. He would say, Urach tov mahu omer. If you're a guest in somebody's house, what do you say? What's the way to talk after he provided you with a meal? You say, thank you. But he says, not only say thank you, he even went further. What did he say? He says, Kama tirchot torach balabayit b'shvili. Look how much the host has worked for me. He's worked so much for me. He's done so much for me. Kama bosa hivi lefanai. Look how much meat he brought for me. Kama yayin hivi lefanai. How much wine he brought to me. And one of the commentaries points out a beautiful idea. When you compliment, and it's very important to compliment, give the details. When you say something like, we're all dealing with we're all married people here in the room. When you compliment your wife, don't just say, thank you very much. Thank you for the dinner. You say, this was good, potatoes was good, the chicken was good. Be much more specific and detail oriented. Don't just generalize. And that's what we see from the Gemara, that Ben Zoma. Everything's in the Gemara, everything's in the Torah. So Ben Zoma says, he speaks about, good morning, he says, look how much meat, how much wine, kamaglustos, how many different breads my host made, and whatever he did, I look at him, he did it for my benefit. He did all these things for my benefit to help me. But you know what? The Urech Ra, A guest who doesn't have the right eye, a guest who's not appreciative. You know how the guest looks at what did he say? He's Ma Omer. Ma Torach Bala Bayit. The guest who's not a good guest, he says, what did he really do for me? What did my host really do for me? Wasn't a big deal what he did to me. Instead of being appreciative and saying, wow, he did so much for me, that's how you're supposed to look at when you come to someone's house and they serve you. Rather, the bad guest says, what did he do for me? Pat achat achalti. I ate one bread. Chaticha achat achalti. I ate one piece of meat. Kos echad yayin shatiti. I drank 1 cup of wine. Instead of the fact that you drank 1 cup of wine, but he offered more wine. The fact that you had 1 piece of bread, but there was more bread on the table. But instead of looking in a positive way, look how much he served, but he only looked at the minimum what he benefited. He was only focused on, I had a little this, a little that. Kol Torah shetorach balabay zeh, everything that he did, lo torach b'shvil ishto banav. The host really, the meal was really mainly for his wife and his children. He wasn't interested really in me. It's not that he looked at me, he was doing this for me. That's the attitude of a bad guest, not to be appreciative. And that's again, these both the common thread of both ideas is to be appreciative and positive and recognize the kindness when people, and he would say it. And this is what he used to say, and he wanted to tell the people, look at the difference between a good guest and a bad guest. And you got to make sure that you're a good guest. You have to make sure that you're appreciative. What does it say about a good guest? The guest is supposed to talk about and praise the hospitality of the host. And but a bad guest, people are afraid of. They don't, because a bad guest, he doesn't recognize, he's not appreciative, and person's not appreciative. Also, it says he will not have children that are chachamim. So an interesting idea that being appreciative, person who recognizes, appreciates people will help him have, Hashem will give him blessings, great blessings with having children that are Talmidei Chachamim. Want to wish everyone a great day, and we have to have that positive, the good eye and recognition.
Rabbi.
Okay, your wife's going to thank me, everybody, tonight. The compliments are coming tonight. We're going to go. The compliments to your wife are coming. How many people just, the wife does to the hut, they take care of the house, they take care of the food, they take care of children. Are they getting enough compliments for it? Never. I don't think that's one. No, right. I think there's one thing in life that we always could use more of, to do, is to compliment more. That's my opinion. And the Rambam says when you compliment, you're fulfilling the mitzvah of loving your fellow neighbor like yourself, because every person by nature appreciates a compliment. Have a great day, everybody.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Remember?
You too. Thank you. Yes, coming up today. Yes.
When we talk about dreams, okay?
Yes.
So you said if someone dream about somebody and the other person also dream about the other person, and what's that mean?
I think we have to look back at the Gemara. I think it was a good sign. But one of Mike is here. Mike, but depends what type of dream he saw about the other guy. I mean, sometimes he might see something. Morning, Mike. Good to see you.
Mike there, Mike Dahan.
Mike Dahan. Yosef,
we haven't seen him for many years.
How are you, Yosef? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Likewise.
Nice haircut.
He's like Yosef. Yosef grew a beard. He had a beard. Right. He's like Yosef at Sadiq. Good yourself. Especially yourself. Good. Baruch haba, Mike. So Yosef, we have to look back at the Gemaras about the dreams, because we did find that for Tzaddik, we found a Gemara that says that someone else would see a bad dream. If sometimes Hashem might want to send a message to a Tzaddik, he might send it through someone else. But someone else would have a bad dream about a Tzaddik for a message for the Tzaddik to tell the Tzaddik. So sometimes another person can have from there we see a person can have a negative dream about someone else. But we have to see the Gemaras about someone having a positive dream about someone else. I think it would go both ways. It depends what the guy sees in the dream. If you see something positive about someone else in a dream, that's a great sign.
He said to me that his dream was about a friend that basically she was with a boyfriend and for a few years, and he asked her when he's going to get married, and he told me after that, not in his dream, that about a year ago she approached him to get help with something, and he didn't have the time, whatever reason, okay, and now because of the dream he called her, and she said like, oh, I just dream about you also. And basically that she told him like they got married between them, so interesting, yeah. And they're speaking maybe once or twice a year only, that's it.
Interesting. I have to just run up to the davening. I'm davening here today.
Okay.
Interesting, Yosef. Thank you for being on. Thank you for your
All right.
activism.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you for
Have a
every
great
morning.
day.
We
Thank you.
appreciating you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Your wife's going to thank me.
I'm the one who cooking, Rabbi.
Yeah, but every wife does. Everybody does things. Everybody's helping each other. You're working.
Of
You're a
course.
team.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's the one working.
Whatever it is, you're a team. You work together. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day, Rabbi. Bye.